Hey guys, it's me, Mr. D. The D stands for dodecahedron. And today we're learning about ancient Mesopotamia. First, a little about the landscape. Mesopotamia is Greek for the land between two rivers, which makes sense because it's land that's in between two rivers. For those of you who have ever been in a classroom that teaches this, you've probably watched this video. Those of you that haven't, you will. The reason why I mentioned this video is it's actually a pretty good explanation of a lot of what happens in ancient Mesopotamia. Literally every single 8th grade teacher that's ever taught about ancient Mesopotamia in history has watched this video with their class. If yours hasn't, you might want to check their teaching license. In all actuality, I do actually recommend watching this because it really helps. Alright, now that my fangirling about Mr. Nicky is over, we can get into the real stuff. Religion and agriculture. Mesopotamian religion was polytheistic, having 3 main gods. These 3 gods were named Ea, Enlil, and Anu. In most myths, Ea is the god of wisdom and the creator of humanity. Mesopotamian religion had many myths similar to current religions or other ancient religions, such as a flood story and an epic of a great hero. The most famous of these epics is the Epic of Gilgamesh. I won't go too in-depth on the Epic of Gilgamesh since it is very complicated, but it's a hero king who goes on an adventure, meets many mythical creatures and gods, and the whole point of it is to show that eventually everyone can die. You know, just what you want to hear when you're going to sleep. But anyways, enough of that boring religion stuff. Now we get to the real fun. Farming. Mesopotamia was the first ever large-scale civilization to figure out agriculture. No one knows exactly how they did it. Some people think someone peed in the dirt, some people think someone spit out some seeds, but no one knows for sure. What we do know, however, is what they farmed. Mesopotamians mostly farmed wheat and barley, which they used to make into breads. Not only did the Mesopotamians eat these breads, but they also sacrificed them to the gods at structures known as ziggurats. A ziggurat is a pyramid-like structure that the Mesopotamians used to sacrifice to their gods and to worship them. They also happen to be the reason why I put agriculture and religion right next to each other. Anyways, that wraps up the entire, religion and agriculture part. Now we have the culture. Unlike most countries today, Mesopotamia wasn't actually a country, but instead a bunch of really small cities called city-states. City-states were essentially their own tiny little countries that operated inside of a city's walls and the lands around it. Think of them kind of like the Vatican City. It's a city that governs itself and is outside of any other country's influence. Now, there have been instances where Mesopotamia is actually somewhat unified. In the 24th century BCE, Sargon the Great created the Mesopotamian Empire. That's not actually what he called it, but we don't really know what he called it, so I'm going to keep calling it that. Essentially, Sargon the Great went out and conquered all of Mesopotamia and a lot of Asia Minor. Unfortunately, the Mesopotamian Empire did fall apart after Sargon's death, so it didn't really work out in the end. About 500 years after the death of King Sargon, in the 19th century BCE, King Hammurabi of Babylon appeared. King Hammurabi wrote the very first law code, appropriately named Hammurabi's Code. Hammurabi's Code was frequently displayed as a large black obelisk with the rules and laws inscribed in it. It was created so that the average citizen could actually know and read the laws. Hammurabi's Code is also famously kind of fair. As opposed to a lot of law codes at the time that only really benefited kings, Hammurabi's Code actually would benefit you even if you were a lower class citizen. Anyways, I'm pretty much done talking about Mesopotamia for now, so this is the end.